Christ is risen.
Indeed he is risen.
All through the history of the Catholic Church, there have been thousands of martyrs and thousands of holy saints who have endured through persecutions, who have endured through false imprisonments, and there have been many who even endured in their faith in Jesus Christ unto earthly death, thereby winning crowns of martyrdom. We heard today of Saints Paul and Silas both being first beaten and then unjustly imprisoned because they cast out a demon from a slave, and because they were teaching the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ all through this city. These holy men were doing the good work that they had been sent by Jesus Christ to do, which by its very nature cannot be evil or destructive, and it cannot be against the natural law imbued in the universe by God himself. But these apostles were not recognized by these evil men of the world, nor by the corrupt authorities, as doing good works. Rather, these apostles were labeled as agitators, and as those going against the social norms of their non-Christian and anti-Christian society. When the apostles, all of the apostles, were spreading this good news of salvation and freedom from sin given to us by Jesus Christ through teaching about the new covenant between God the Father and his people. The covenant, by the way, which fulfills all previous covenants, the apostles' message was only be accepted by some minorities in each city. I mean, a minority of people, a small amount of people. It took time. It took a lot of time for more and more people to hear of this new covenant and for them to give their lives to it and to be baptized into Christ and to live this new way. This means that there has been much opposition to the faith from many directions. Opposition from the Jews who refused to believe in their Messiah. Opposition from the pagans who couldn't grasp a good and loving God in the Holy Trinity. Opposition from the ruling governments who did not want to secede power. And then, opposition to the universal apostolic faith was even experienced within the Catholic communities by those who were following their own hearts and distorted reasoning. It wasn't until the Emperor Constantine decriminalized Christianity in the Roman Empire in the year 313 that some political relief was being granted to the Catholic Church. It was 10 years after this decriminalization that Catholicism became the official religion of the empire. But as an aside, when you read any book or article about this historical event, you'll notice that it is labeled as Christianity and not Catholicism. But again, at this time, there were no other recognized sects of Christianity other than the Catholic Church. So soon after this event, the First Council, which we're going to celebrate next Sunday, would be called by that same Emperor Constantine. And this council's attendees were all Catholic bishops. But for historical sake, we can argue that there really is no Christianity outside of Catholicism, since Catholicism is the fullness of the Christian faith. Now, all through history, the support for Christianity, or the lack of support from governments, has ebbed and flowed. In the West, we have seen many political actions taken against Christianity these past few decades, which seem to be coming at a much greater intensity these past few years, that actively seek to suppress and thwart the freedom of the Christian, while at the same time increase the importance and acceptance of anti-Christian practices and degraded morality. Keep in mind, it is always the task of the Catholic to influence the world around him. If we believe that Jesus Christ is as he says, the way, the truth, and the life. And as we have heard him say today, I am the light of the world. Then how can we keep this light of truth under a basket and hidden? We are compelled to allow the light of Christ to shine throughout the whole world and to dispel all darkness and blindness present in it. Therefore, we are compelled to influence our families, our neighbors, our communities, and our governments with the truth of his gospel. However, as mentioned, we have seen increasing attacks on Christianity, by attacks between individuals, by legal attacks of unjust incarcerations, unjust lawsuits, and even recently, the proposal of writing legislation which could be used to redefine passages of Holy Scripture as hate speech. And as always, we experience an increase in spiritual attacks against us. What do we do in the light of these injustices towards the new Israel? And by the new Israel, we do not mean some geographical boundary. We mean the definition the New Testament gives us. We mean the Catholic definition of the new Israel, which is the Catholic Church who celebrates the new covenant given to us at the Last Supper by Jesus Christ. This is the new Israel. This is the translation of Zion. We must do what is necessary to peacefully and legally influence those in power to uphold the teachings of Christ for all of our nations. And most importantly, we must adhere to these teachings ourselves and pray and pray and pray for a peaceful life. But as we have seen from the account of Saints Paul and Silas, if the government persecutes us, we must accept these injustices with courage and not let them strip us of our faith and hope in the risen Jesus Christ. Christ is risen.